My name is Heather Westerman. I'm with Lexmark International. My title is Program Manager for the Enterprise E-Business Solutions. Lexmark primarily focuses on printing and imaging and software solutions for data management. So Lexmark currently transacts on approximately 5 different third-party e-procurement systems. One of the things that I have noticed is that a majority of them mimic what Ariba offers in terms of UI, UX, user interface, user experience. The other thing that I have noticed is that from an Ariba perspective, the company really seeks to engage with me as a seller on their system. So they understand that as a seller, I'm being asked to use this system so that I can transact with my customer. I'm not necessarily coming to the procurement system because I want to do business on it. And so they're very sensitive to that, whereas other third-party procurement, there's been, as far as I know, very little to no interaction with the actual company as a seller. They've not reached out to say, hey, can we help you understand what your customer is needing? They're usually there from the customer side and not from the seller side. So it makes it really difficult when you're trying to integrate with them to really figure it out and understand what their system is trying to accomplish and how I, as a seller, can then leverage their system, maybe not just for that customer, but for others. Ariba really goes above and beyond in that domain. The best part about using Ariba in reference to the other third-party procurement systems that we are involved with is the people. So that's really setting Ariba apart. Anybody can build a system that can transact, right? You accept a PO, you pass it on, you throw back some other documents, you eventually invoice on it. So it's just some code and some databases in its simplified form. But with Ariba, it's about the people. So they have conferences like Ariba Live, they have strategic seller events for us. They really take that time to reach out to us as sellers, as human beings, to say, we care about your business. We care about the fact you're on Ariba Network and we want to do what's best for you. They've really shown that over the last couple of years. Like I said, I've been on Ariba now for 8 years, but it's only been within the last 5 that I've had that really personalization interaction with Ariba, and I think that they're starting to excel at it, and that will be the thing that sets them apart from all the other e-procurement systems that us as sellers are being asked to use. So Ariba's biggest improvement has got to be their UI. Their user interface has just become so much easier to use, so much easier to navigate. When I design training manuals or go through training, a lot of our users are saying, wow, this is really simple. I understand where things are located. They try to use icon and terminology that is familiar with a lot of us as sellers, as opposed to trying to create something that's, specific to them and trying to be, kind of fancy with it and saying, well, this is an Ariba term. Well, I don't really care whose term it is. I just want to make sure that all of my users are familiar with it. So, I think the biggest step that they've made going forward is definitely the attention that they've paid to the user interface. If a customer came to me and said, I'm really looking at SAP Ariba versus another third-party procurement system, I would first ask them what they're really trying to accomplish. If they're trying to streamline their entire process from soup to nuts, meaning that they want to manage the vendor information as well as the vendor interaction as well as the collaboration, and then all the way to the sale and the invoicing, then they should go through Ariba because it handles all of that from a buyer perspective. All the other systems that I've seen, they stop gaps. So they'll take it to a certain point, so they may have catalog expertise or they may have PO expertise, but not invoice expertise or, vendor management expertise. So there's a lot of gaps in the other third-party procurement systems. One of the things that I would tell a buyer who's new to the Ariba system or enabling Ariba is to bring their suppliers in early. Let them know what they're trying to do, because us as suppliers, if we're new to the system, it takes us a lot longer to get ourselves accustomed to what you're getting ready to ask us to do. So the sooner the vendors are aware, they can make and work through the change management that'll be necessary for them to start using the Ariba supplier network. I would tell a supplier that they really need to open those lines of communication with their customer that's asking them to go through the Ariba process. Leverage the resources that are given to the customer from Ariba to help them step through the process, because the buyer side contacts from Ariba can also help them get contacts with the seller side, and that way they can then help them understand the Ariba side can help them understand what's being expected of them from the seller side and help them work through that process. So it's not as simple as just going onto the Ariba network, setting up a user ID, and getting access. Really understanding where are the points where you should integrate with automated process versus where it makes more sense to do a manual process, or where it makes sense to do a SIF catalog versus a punch out catalog, because sometimes customers will ask you to do something that really doesn't make sense, but you agree to it because you didn't know what it was. I am Heather Westerman, Program Manager, Enterprise E-Business Solutions at Lexmark International. I am Ariba Network.